Welcome to the Belize Caribbean Pulse. We will examine the social, cultural, economic and political challenges which faces the indigenous people of the Caribbean and Central American region as we approach the 21st century. In our studios today we have two very special guests, the former Prime Minister of the country of Belize, the Honorable Manuel Esquivel, as well as the former Foreign Minister of Belize, the Honorable Dean Barrow. Welcome to our program.
Thank you.
The United Democratic Party emerged victorious in 1984. Today you find yourselves back in the familiar role of the opposition. What went wrong?
Okay, well, I don't know if you can answer that in a very brief sort of way, because in any kind of electoral process there's going to be dozens of elements that come together to determine the outcome. But I think we have to say by and large that there must have been prominent among those elements a feeling that the kind of economic development program that we were pursuing might have been too rapid, perhaps. Some people might have felt somewhat threatened by the pace. Some people might have felt that they would have been left out of the progress which we were trying to achieve. And some people might have felt that our transformation from I think certainly the last factor that the party leader mentioned played an especially critical role. Belize is still very much a small society, and the personal considerations are paramount. That is, people still expect their political leaders to be entirely accessible to them, and the populist approach is still what works best. In our case, because we spent rather too much time concentrating on the nuts and bolts of government, the hard work involved in getting the economy together again and pushing the country forward, and perhaps not enough time on massaging the backs of our constituents, it helped to contribute to our undoing. I'm not suggesting, of course, that there is any degree of unreasonableness on the part of people, of the electorate that we ought to castigate. In other words, I would concede that perhaps we did have a duty to do rather more than we did in terms of staying in touch with people on the personal level. But I want to feel that as our society develops, next time around, when we're back in government, as I'm sure we will, people expect rather less of us in terms of this question of maintaining the personal touch to a degree that really is unrealistic given the complexity of the challenges that face any government in Belize at the present time.
In 1987, the Belizean economy expanded sharply by some 5%. The manufacturing sector of the economy also grew some 8%. Therefore, when you were voted out of office, the economy was doing good. How did this impact the average individual in the society?
Okay, well, it is our feeling that, in fact, everybody benefited. Although people's perception of the degree of benefit might not have been there to the extent it should have been, but we sincerely feel that everybody benefited. Not only from the fact that thousands of jobs were created for people, not only from the fact that, in fact, in an expanding economy, it means that the availability of goods and services will be there for everyone, but also in the steps that the government took After having a period of austerity for the first 2 years, as you know, we started off in an IMF program, and there was a lot to be done, which required a lot of austerity, and the government began to show surpluses. Then we immediately began to ensure that we would take those steps which would benefit people in a rather direct way. For example, by upping the level of income that a person needed to earn before he would have to pay income tax. The effect of that was that 10,000 working men and women stopped paying income tax by reducing electricity rates. And again, for the lowest users of electricity by as much as 25%. Now, obviously, in the long run, there's going to be some people that you don't reach right away, and it would take some time. But certainly, I thought our strategy was aimed at making sure that people were not left out.